I'll tell you another guy that does pretty good stone cold work himself is a guy by the name of Todd Kaufmann, and right now on the APEC VIP hotline, cutting-edge training for the serious athlete, apecgo.com. We are going to talk to the guy, and by the way, if you want to see the results, just see the athletes when they get on the field. Right now, with us, working today as a co-host of Countdown to Cotton with Dave Radio Productions, Todd Kaufmann. How you doing, Todd?
I'm doing well, Bryan. It's been a while.
I know it has. How are you, sir?
I'm doing excellent. Holidays went well. My wife and I are doing well. Everything's great here.
Good deal. Happy New Year to you.
And right back to you. It's good to talk to you.
All right. Now, normally Todd, of course, works with DFW Sports Page and does a podcast about scooping the Rangers and talks baseball with us, but you're covering the Cotton Bowl today. Tell me a little bit about this project.
Well, this is something that I've done for 3 years running now, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to do it each and every year, and especially to be holed up at Cowboy Stadium and be able to see what I think is one of the best bowl games of the year. And it's a great venue. I love Cowboy Stadium, and I love even more the college atmosphere that comes in here, because if you talk to people at Cowboy Stadium, they always talk about how the Cowboy fans are too quiet. It's not that loud in there. But, man, you come for the Cotton Bowl and you get teams like LSU, like, the teams coming in this year, Texas A&M and Oklahoma. I mean, they're expecting almost 100,000. This place is going to be loud tonight. So I think this is absolutely one of the best games of the year.
I have been there at Cowboy Stadium for the LSU-Oregon game that opened the season last year. It is deafening when you get that big a crowd in that place. It's not a cavern like it is in the Cowboy games. This place is rocking. It's like a college station when that thing's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember when I can't remember. I think it was LSU and Texas A&M a few years ago.
Cotton Bowl.
Yeah, at the Cotton Bowl. And I remember opening the glass that you have right in front of you in the press boxes in the suites, and we decided, we just wanted the atmosphere to hear the fans. And the guys, Dave Michaels and I, are sitting right next to each other. We could literally not hear each other talking back and forth. And we just decided we're not going to talk. We're just going to enjoy this. And that's the kind of atmosphere that comes into the Cotton Bowl. So, people coming from out of town, haven't been to Cowboy Stadium, think the atmosphere is going to be quiet. You are absolutely mistaken. This is going to be incredible tonight.
So you're already on site, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what's it like around there right now?
Oh, this place is, and if you're coming off the 30, you're going to be in traffic for a very long time because it was already backed up when I came through. So it's going to be hopping. I mean, tailgaters were here since this morning. A&M and Oklahoma fans, you see the car flags are out in mass, and this is going to be incredible tonight. This is going to be an excellent game. All
right, I was going to ask you now, kind of break down the game for me. What do you see happening tonight?
You know what? I want to pick A&M because I'm such a big fan of Johnny Manziel. As a freshman to win the Heisman Trophy, I was so happy for him because a freshman that never won it. Everybody talks about Adrian Peterson several years back, should have been the freshman to win it, but Manziel was just far and away the best player in college football. And to see him in this kind of atmosphere in Cowboy Stadium and in the national spotlight, and I know he's been in the national spotlight in that game against Alabama where they went down to Tuscaloosa and won that game. But you're talking about two high-powered offenses. You're talking about A&M, who I think very much still has a chip on their shoulder because this is a team that everybody thought was going to get run in the SEC, and all of a sudden they're leading the SEC in points per game, something like 44 or 45 points a game, and everybody's going, wow, these guys are doing things that we didn't think they were going to do. And then you have a first-year head coach at A&M with Kevin Sumlin, who is a prodigy of Oklahoma. So you've got ties in this game, but don't overlook Landry Jones. He's had some bad games. He had a bad one against Kansas State. He's had a couple this season, but I think this kid can step up. So you're going to see a very good battle of quarterbacks. It's going to be who can top who. This is going to be a battle for how many points you can score. It's going to be a can you top this? Maybe not a great defensive battle, but you're going to see an excellent, excellent game tonight.
So it really is going to come down to, even though you got high-powered offenses, it's going to be which defense can make a stop tonight.
I think so, too. And one thing, if you watch Kansas State against Oklahoma when they went into Norman and just stomped all over them, it was the blitz that really got Landry Jones with happy feet. And if that's what A&M is going to do, which I think they can do with their linebackers and their secondary, bring the blitz, keep Landry Jones honest, make him beat you with his arm, I think that's what A&M is going to look to do. I'm really looking forward to seeing if A&M can put pressure on them. On Oklahoma side, it's going to be keep Manziel from running all over you. Make sure you have Manziel beat you with his arm. That's what's going to keep Oklahoma in the game, because if Manziel gets on a roll, he starts to run, then he can pass, then you got the play action coming in. So if they can keep Manziel honest and in the pocket, I think they have a real chance.
Now, the only two teams that have been able to shut Manziel down, and only in the second half of both of the games in their two losses, were ferocious defenses in Florida and LSU. I don't think Oklahoma's defense is anywhere near as good as those defenses are, and they've had a hard time against teams like West Virginia and Oklahoma State, teams that really spread it out and run it all over the field. It just seems to lend itself to the idea that A&M's got a big edge here.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they've got one of the best offenses in the country, really. And you talk about West Virginia, and you know what they did. We saw earlier in the year, West Virginia against Baylor was a can you top this kind of game. Very little defense, well, actually no defense, and a lot of points. I don't think it's going to get to 70 to 63. But I think Oklahoma's going to have a very tough chance. But I'm not going to rule them out. Bob Stoops is a big game coach. This is a guy who's been in this game long enough. He knows Kevin Sumlin. He knows A&M. This is a former Big 12 matchup. But I just think Manziel is going to have too much tonight. But we'll see. Maybe Oklahoma's defense does step up. Maybe they don't, and nobody thinks they will, and maybe they will. We'll see.
And the other thing that seems to be on the line here is a real big edge in recruiting, because for so long it's been OU and Texas getting the best players and everybody else fighting for the rest. And suddenly Texas A&M is the beautiful young girl on the corner now over OU and Texas. And it would seem like if you want to slow that freight train down, you got to beat Texas A&M tonight.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, you look at just one guy, Johnny Manziel, a guy that Texas passed on. They said, "Kid, we want you as a safety." He said, "No, thanks." Went to A&M, becomes the Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback. So, you know, maybe Manziel has a chip on his shoulder all year long to say, I can do more than you think I can. And you're right, it's always been Oklahoma and Texas. But I had said before A&M left for the SEC, I said, would Kevin Sumlin give this program, these coaches, 2 or 3 years to recruit and watch what they do? And I was wrong, because it took them just a single year to do it. I'm really impressed.
Okay, and I got to ask you a Ranger question real quickly. Based on all you've seen in the offseason so far, what do you make of this team? Is this going to be a rebuild year this year?
I certainly hope not. And I've written a couple columns, and I said I hope they're not rebuilding, but with the lack of moves, and although I say lack of moves, but you can explain almost everyone away. They weren't going to give Mike Napoli $39 million. Mm-hmm. They weren't going to give Josh Hamilton 5 years. They weren't going to give Granke 6 years. So really when it comes down to it, the Rangers weren't comfortable doing that. I really don't blame them. But then again, you've got a rotation that is still void of that fifth starter, and you've got a fourth starter in Alexi Ogando, who only has a half season of experience as a starter. Yes, he was an all-star, but look at the second half. He fell off. So what are you going to do with that fifth starter? That's a huge hole. They got Jason Frazier in as another bullpen guy. You've got Joakim Soria, who's coming off 2 surgeries. You're not going to have him until late May, early June. So there are definitely still holes. I think A.J. Brzezinski is a good catcher. He is going to be, I know everybody talks about this guy's a cancer, he's a bad guy, but you know what? Everybody in Chicago says this is a guy that loves to win, and I think he's going to be great for this rotation. So we'll see what happens, but they definitely need a few more pieces.
What do you think about them trying to at least explore the idea of bringing Lance Berkman in?
I'm concerned about the off-season surgery with his knee. I think he's getting up there in age, and especially with a guy that's going, I don't even know if I want to come back and play another year. How much motivation is he going to have to really play at a high level? And could you get the same production out of a guy by the name of Mitch Moreland? I mean, I don't have anything against Moreland. A lot of Ranger fans do. They don't like him, but this is a kid that doesn't play every day. So if you give him a chance to face left-handed pitchers and right-handed pitchers, give him 600 at-bats, and does he give you the same kind of numbers you would get with Lance Berkman? So I don't know. It's not a move that I like. If he's cheap, then, you know, maybe, but I just question his motivation.
Okay, very good. Todd, how long is your broadcast on today?
Well, we're actually not doing a broadcast tonight. They didn't have space for us, but
okay.
We're definitely going to enjoy the game tonight.
Oh, well, excellent. Hey, even better. You don't have to work now.
Well, we'll still be working tonight, but this is probably the most exciting game I'm looking forward to, and there were tons of media already in the house. The fans are already packing the stadium, so this is going to be real, real loud, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we appreciate you coming on and giving us a report on the atmosphere and everything that's going on around the ball game, and we look forward to talking to you when we get closer to baseball season again, okay?
That sounds good. I look forward to it, Bryan.
Great. Good talking to you. Todd Kaufmann, again, working with Countdown to Cotton from Dave Radio Productions. and we appreciate him coming on with us today. So we're going to take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll take some of your phone calls, and we'll talk about this Cotton Bowl game. Who do you think's going to win, Oklahoma or A&M, and why, when we return?